Today we're talking about Crescent City Redwoods KOA, and this is a campground review.
Make sure you stay to the end to find out what our number one thing you need to know before you head to this campground.
A new place, a new home. For a while, let me feel alive. Nothing to hold me back. Take my time, just enjoy the ride.
General impressions.
This is a small and quiet campground. Too quiet? This campground seemed to cater mostly to tent campers and cabin campers. There was a very limited number of RV sites available.
The cost for us was $48 a night, including our KOA membership discount. Campsite.
We stayed in campsite C7. It was a level campsite that did not require any leveling blocks.
It was a nice pull-through site with a gravel pad. There was a strip of grass in between the sites, but it was quite muddy. And when I say quite muddy, I mean we noticed we were dragging in mud and clumps of grass on our feet every time we came into the RV. It had some nice tall bushes on one side, which kept you from seeing directly into your neighbor's campers. The bushes separated the two campsites that were facing each other, and it did provide a little bit of privacy. The back side of the RV, though, was open to your neighbor.
This campsite had full hookups, including both 50 and 30 amps, so hashtag 50.
This campsite had a picnic table as well as a fire ring, but no grill. They also had a propane filling station as well as a dump station.
Wi-Fi was available in the park, although on our phones alone we were not able to use it. We were able to use it with our King Wi-Fi system, and we were able to get 2.6 megabits per second download speed and 3.74 megabits per second upload speed. And no, I did not read those in reverse. Verizon was available. I did not test the speed, unfortunately, and Starlink would have been available, but we did not set it up.
We were only there for one night.
Amenities.
They did have bathrooms and showers, but while there were multiple different sets, only the set that was near the office was open. So if you were a cabin or a tent camper, you'd have had to walk all the way from the back of the park to the office to use the shower or bathroom. They did have dumpsters, and they were easily located at the front near the office.
There were 2 working washers and 4 dryers, which required quarters at $2.50 per wash and $1 per dry. However, there was no change machine.
They did not have a pool, but they did have a playground for the kids. They had a meeting room that doubled as a playroom for the kids. It was, however, very dark and kind of unappealing. In my opinion, it could use a fresh, brighter coat of paint. But they did have several tables set up for cards, crafts, and puzzles. They also had soccer, volleyball, horseshoes, and ironically, bike rentals. Stay tuned for more on that. They also had a game room with several arcade games, foosball, and ping pong. However, they all required payment, and as we've said, there was no change machine on site. Dog friendliness.
There was a medium-sized off-leash dog area that had been heavily used, and the gate was unfortunately broken. There was a large grassy area between the fenced-in area and a kid's playground at the back of the park, so you could also walk your dogs there. But there were no pickup stations.
Campstore.
They did have a camp store. It seemed to have mostly KOA swag with limited amounts of other items. It did close early on the day that we came in, and it does seem to have limited hours. Camp staff interactions.
We didn't have any camp staff interactions. They actually seemed kind of non-existent at this campground, which is a little surprising for a KOA. Additional information.
It was very disconcerting when we pulled up to this campground to see a sign on the door of the office that wasn't staffed that read about bike thefts in the area, where they were using bolt cutters to steal people's bikes.
What a first impression. I mean, honestly, we looked at each other and really considered canceling our reservation. But who were we going to cancel with? There was no one there. If they were really concerned about this, we feel like there's so many things that they could have done differently to provide more security. They could have a security guard, or they could put in a key code so that you have to use a key code to get in or out. Or at the very least, put in cameras, or don't close the office early. I mean, you've already got staff there for the purposes of helping people get to their campsites. That seems like a no-brainer to me. It seems like you wouldn't want to be closing the office early.
There was also a car being worked on in the garage right across from our site. It looked like they may store golf carts there, but the guy was working on it most of the night.
Like a personal vehicle. It wasn't a campground vehicle. And there were people that were coming and going as well. And it just gave you a sense of feeling like it wasn't necessarily a great place to be staying and camping. We should also mention that this KOA was listed as a KOA holiday, which is supposed to have the nicer amenities for people who want to stay a little bit longer. But quite frankly, one night was plenty for us. We would not have wanted to stay longer at this KOA.
In fact, we broke down right after we left this campground, and we were probably closer to it than the campground we ended up staying at, and we did not go back to this campground.
We kept going. So now the moment that you've been waiting for, where we give you how we rate these campgrounds. But before we get to that, make sure to like and subscribe. It really helps us out. It lets us know that you like this content so that we can bring more of it to you. Also, it makes sure that you don't miss one of our videos. Now we're going to put up on the screen how we put these ratings into Google reviews as well as RV Trip Wizard. For rooms, we gave them a 4.
For service,
We
gave them a 2. For location, we gave them a 4. We gave them a 4 because it was right next to the Redwoods. It was really pretty despite all of the security issues. Overall, we gave them a 1.
Honestly, this is one of our saddest reviews because this campground has so much potential. It was a beautiful setting and a beautiful location. Unfortunately, the security and the staffing issues, we just really feel like we cannot recommend this campground until they get those resolved. It did have some nice mature bushes. That doesn't sound good. I'm gonna have trouble delivering this line. But it was just dark. It's all about the cheap ching.
All out the bling bling.
It's supposed to be not about the ching ching. For service, we gave them a 4.
2.
Sorry, I said service. It was room. We gotta get this straight. I'm sorry, you did it right, and I said the wrong thing. I said the wrong category.
That was good. I
You're
realized
wrong
you
with it.
said service, but I'm like, okay, well that.
Okay, that's
She
all
had
right.
the 2.
For some of our other campgrounds that we would recommend, check it out up here.